come link with your boy, come link. Come and blow some trees with your boy, let's link. We can watch a flick if you're bored, come link. We can joyride and explore, link. Baby, come link with your boy, come link. Come and blow some trees with your boy, let's link. We can watch a flick if you're bored, come link. We can joyride and explore.
You're now tuned into Linked Up with Lux.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Lux. Today's episode is called They Already Moved On, and so should you. So we ain't gonna hold back on this one. We gonna jump straight into it. Have you ever been in a situation where y'all might have had a little argument, y'all might have been beefing a little bit, and y'all kind of just separated? And for me, I'm going to tell you straight up, I do not do breaks. I don't do that whole make up the breakup, come back together, we're a stronger unit. I don't do that at all. We ain't doing no breaks, because a break to me is a pass to go cheat. And some would say, well, technically it's not cheating because you weren't together, you were on a break. I mean, if that was the case, if we were going to be on that, we could have did that from the jump, you know? I mean, hey, why commit to someone? Why say, hey, we're going to be together if you're going to allow that type of dynamic down the line, you know? Because it's like, what are you going through that's so bad that we can't communicate? What are you going through? What are we going through? What am I going through that is so bad that I have to literally take a step back from you and put our relationship on pause? That's crazy, you know? But some people, they don't think that taking a break means going to go sleep with other people, because when you say it out loud like that, it sounds a little crazy. It sounds like you just wanted a pass. It sounds like you just wanted an excuse to go out and do whatever you wanted to do. But it's like, it doesn't make sense. So the main point of this episode is to really break down the simple fact of dynamics and when they change. Now, we all know in the beginning, you know how your person is. You know how you guys communicate. You know your preferred method, whether it's texting or calling or whatever the case may be, Instagram, WhatsApp, whatever you guys talk on the regular. You know how it is when things are flowing smoothly. You know, good mornings and random messages and, hey, I just got up, and, oh, I just went and got my coffee, and I just made it to work, or, oh my God, my coworker's tripping, my boss is annoying, oh, I got a meeting. Like, all of that consistent communication is pretty normal, at least I thought, in my situations at least, you know, like if we're locked in or we're talking or we're getting to know each other or we're dating or whatever the case may be, we're going to be talking throughout the day. We don't even have to be talking about anything particular. The conversation naturally flows. And when you have that type of situation, when you're involved with someone with a natural flowing conversation, it makes things 100 times easier, opposed to having to force that dynamic with someone. And that just kind of means that either y'all both are socially awkward, or they don't really like you like that, or you just don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to socialize. You're stuck on, so like, what are you doing? Oh, what time's your lunch? Oh, what's your favorite color? You know, when you meet somebody and the conversation is flowing naturally, you know the vibe. You know, if you're on your break, you might call them. If you're going home, you might call them. Whatever the case may be, y'all locked in. You know, that's your little boo. That's your little booski, you know? So when that changes, you should definitely know that it changes. You send them a text message. If you know they're, not doing much, like, you're going to respond unless they're busy with work, and they will communicate that to you. Like, hey, I'm going to get back to your text. Work's a little busy. But there's never been any gaps. There's never been any situations where someone would have to question and be like, man, it's going on 8 hours. They still haven't responded, with someone who you actually are talking to on that level. I'm not talking about y'all that be just going into situations with people and you think it's dating, you think it's your boo, you think it's more than what it is, and the whole time they just playing you. They're just like, I get to you when I get to you. I'm talking about true, genuine connections where the conversation is natural. It naturally flows. You actually want to talk to each other. You actually don't mind sending each other funny, relatable memes and TikToks and whatever the case may be. You don't feel forced. All right. Now, it's important to understand that the dynamic that you're in, it changes. It changes obvious when it gets to that point with that person where maybe they start responding slower. And this could be down the line, this can be a month in, whatever the case may be. You can always usually sense when things are a little off, right? Like they're not checking on you anymore, they're distant, they're going longer and longer without responding to you. Like that's usually either after something happened or they are falling like away from the dynamic, they're separating from you, they're pulling away essentially. And you know how that person was in the beginning. So when this starts happening with this person that you're involved with, take it as a sign. Take it as a sign of, yeah, all right, this is my cue. Let me get up out of here, because clearly you're separating. And again, I'm not saying this is something that would just randomly come out the blue. Usually when you get to this point, either you guys just both kind of came to that realization like, man, I don't think this is gonna work. I don't think, like, you want this and I want this. I want things to be like this, you want things to be like that. I want my woman to be like this and you want your man to be like this, and we just can't meet in the middle. Or I peeped some stuff, I went through your phone, you went through my phone. Like, we're just at that rocky point, and it seems like eventually it was going to just break apart anyway. Maybe because either someone is going to say, hey, let's make this work for real, and you two have to mutually agree, or it's one-sided and one person has already drifted off. But the thing is, when people start pulling away, it's not just because they picked up a new hobby. It's not just because they're just so busy all of a sudden and they just don't see your text. They see their phone. They have their phone on them all day. You literally notice. But when you start either sensing more attitude or just more snappiness with the responses, or dryness with the response, or no response at all, and they're not that bubbly, funny, personable person that you once knew, you once used to text, that's when something is up. But I promise you, they're not just doing that because they're so busy all of a sudden. They're doing that because they met someone, or they allowed someone who has always been in the back, waiting to take your spot, to move into position. So I guarantee you, they're over there caked up with that person. They laid up all of that energy that they gave you, the kiki ha ha, oh look at this TikTok, ha ha he he, wow. They are getting it from someone else and they're giving it to someone else. You are no longer a priority to this person. This person is literally using the new replacement to distract them from you. You have to literally accept it for what it is. They are literally using another person to distract themselves from you. Now just think back. I always think about this. Like, whenever I get into a situation, when I'm dating someone or getting to know someone, I kind of always think about the people that were before me, because I'm like, okay, I'm here now, right? Everything is fine. You seem perfect. You're bubbly, you're personable, you're showing me all that is love, and you're everything is fine. Like, I'm looking at it like, wow, this is not too bad. It's not too bad in the beginning, and you always start to wonder, so how did the last person mess this up? And they always give you the spiel. Oh, they were still talking to someone else. Okay, now that is like, all right, well, that's a no-brainer. Clearly they were a cheater. Clearly they were a liar. Clearly they didn't take you, they didn't appreciate you. They didn't take you serious. Like, I get that. But it's always more to it. And I hate when I can't get that other perspective, because usually we're not going and interviewing the ex. We're not like, hey, what's your ex number? So I can just call them real quick and just cross-reference the information you gave me and just get their side, because there's two sides to every story. You kind of just go off of what they tell you. So you're not combative. You're not argumentative about, oh, well, Now, if you're smart, you might ask questions, like deep questions, like, oh, well, how did you find this out? But usually when people fall back from somebody, they're always going to have their story already pre-created and practiced and rehearsed, so they're going to say, hey, so that way you can't like debunk it without sounding crazy. They're going to say, hey, I did everything for this person. I was there for them. They were still talking to this person. They were talking to a coworker, and I found out. I went through their phone, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to make it seem like this person is the worst person ever. They're going to muddy it up so good to the point where a person with common sense, you're not really going to like question it, because you're going to be like, oh, well, that makes sense, right? But there's always two sides to a story. But besides that, I always think about that, and I'd be like, I'm not nobody special, right? Like, people, when you come into their life, they make it seem like you are just so rare. You're just so different. You're just this or that. They're trusting themselves with you. They're trusting you with their body when it comes to intimate moments. They're trusting you with this and that, and they want to hurry up and get a house together and start a family. And you're just like, whoa, okay, we just met. Makes you kind of think, like, if you're already on that, you probably was on that with the last person, but they will swear they weren't, because that person was just so ungrateful, unappreciative. Then they get to telling you all the things they did for that person. For their birthday, I did this. I bought them this. I'm the only person that did this. And you're like, wow, okay, right? So again, I brought that up to just really think back to it. It's just like, you never really know the backstory, the prior story, what happened before. But it's weird to be in that situation now when you are now that person that they're talking about. They will literally meet somebody else and make it seem like they're so sweet, so innocent. They're just so perfect, and they did everything. They did no wrong. They did no wrong, and you were the problem. So now they're talking to this other person. That person is giving them that same energy that you gave them in the beginning, the getting to know each other phase. What do they call it? The puppy love or whatever, puppy something phase, whatever. So it's like, everything's fine. They got somebody fresh. They really want to erase you. And they don't want to just erase you just because they're so fed up with you. It's just, they feel like that's their way of coping. That's their way of moving on. That's their way of erasing their past. Imagine one of those little etch-a-sketch things, like, you guys had this beautiful picture, a house, big fancy family cars, whatever, just family dynamic, whatever, and they just erased it. They did it to the left, erase. They did it to the right, erase. They did it real fast. Woo, 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 woo. Picture is gone. And now here they are quickly sketching another perfect fairy tale life, because either something that you did that they don't like, or something that they just realized, what, I don't want to be with this. I'm going to go start over. And a lot of people suffer from that. They just start over. They start over. And I'm not going to lie. I've been that person to start over, because I feel like, hey, if this isn't what it is, or there's something for me that's just like a non-negotiable for me, I'm not going to force myself or settle, if you will, for a situation that doesn't make me feel comfortable, if this is supposed to be my peace, unless there's mutual energy, that can help with the reinsurance and make me feel, validated, and feel like, hey, let's just duck this out. Nobody's perfect, but nobody sticks around for that. Everybody is so quick to be mad that you're pointing a finger at them, or they try to say, well, how can you say this and you're like this? Or how can you want this and you're like this? And it's like, okay, too much confrontation there. I get what you're saying. I get your point. But at the end of the day, you as a human have the right and a choice to settle, stay, accept whatever you want to do. So just because you choose not to nitpick and be specific about your standards, that doesn't mean everybody has to adapt to that and have that mindset. That's insane. That's like me saying, hey, like, there's some fried chicken here, and you're like, I don't like my fried chicken with hot sauce on it. And I'm like, okay, well, and then you're trying to tell me, well, if you go and get other fried chicken, you might as well just eat the fried chicken that's in front of you with the hot sauce, because you don't know if you're ever going to get fried chicken again without hot sauce, blah, blah, blah. Okay, dumb example. But it's just, you're trying to force me to literally accept something when I've already had my standard. I know I don't like hot sauce. That's a lie, by the way. I know I don't like hot sauce. I know that if it's saturated too much in this area, that's just a no. It's a ick for me. I don't like that. But here you are trying to force me. You're never going to find a perfect chicken wing. You're never going to find a perfect chicken wing that has the right amount of hot sauce. And you should lower your standards because you literally have what you have one right in front of you. And it's like, okay, I get that. But now let's say I put relish on this chicken wing. Let's say I put mustard on this chicken wing and you don't like that stuff, right? You're telling me you're just going to accept it and you're going to eat it and you're just going to just be like, hey, you know what? It's not perfect, but this is my chicken wing. More than likely, you're going to put your guard up as well, or you're going to try to go around it. So stop the BS. But back to the main point. So they're not texting you back. They're going days on end without responding to you. The energy's dry. The energy is shifting. You've already tried to do what you can to try to get into their head and be like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, you good? Are we good? Like, are we okay? Like, you're trying to fix things. You're trying to make sure they're mentally okay. And they're just cold. They're cold. You're sending them messages. You sent them something, a picture, a video, whatever it is, and they're not responding, or they're responding days later. Like, this is the same person that they used to have the set work schedule. You know what time they get home. Like, it's crazy. Like, we used to talk on the phone for any reason at all, like for hours. Right? It didn't matter if you was at a store. It didn't matter if you were in a freaking waiting room at the doctor. We used to talk all day, even if we were just breathing. So the simple fact that has shifted, it shows and proves to me that you have already made that decision that you don't want to have that dynamic with me anymore. And that's okay. You just have to move on, because I guarantee you they're out here having sex with other people. So there's no point of you sitting here overworking your brain trying to think like, okay, well, maybe they're busy. Maybe they just got a lot going on. No. Remember, this is the same person that used to respond 3 seconds when you used to send them TikToks and Reels. This is the same person that used to spam text you. This is the same person that used to say good morning and how you're doing. This is the same person you used to talk throughout the day about stupid stuff. You didn't even have to have a reason to text. You were just literally going with the flow. Hey, look at this. Snap a picture of that. Send it to them. It didn't matter. You talked to this person on a regular. You know their dynamic. You know how they were. You know how they made you feel. And the fact that they have shifted and they're doing a whole 360 now is 100% your green light to move on. And I promise you, though, they're using this person as a distraction. But when you better yourself and you just be like, you know what? You accept it, you're going to be so much better. And when that person fizzles, if you were somewhat of a decent person, they are going to regret putting themselves in that situation. Once they realize that this person that they replaced you with is literally no better or worse, they are going to think back like, man, I used to have someone that we used to be silly with each other. We used to be able to talk all day. The person they're with now, they might not want to talk on the phone. They might be serious. They might not like you sending them stupid TikToks and Reels. Some people are like that. They might be abusive. They might be verbally abusive. They might be physically abusive. Whatever, they might be emotionally abusive, but sometimes people, they get into those situations and they never tell. They never admit. They never want to admit that what they had before was better, because they decided to step out and do this on their own to try to get back at you. They're never going to admit that you were better. But sometimes once that does blow up in their face, it's no different from a relationship, and people go on to the next person and then they try to backpedal to their ex after that then exploded. They will try to backpedal and you will see subtle things from the past. You will be aware of certain things that you used to do with this person. It'll start popping up. They might start texting you and sending you emojis. They might start sending you Instagram, videos again, or posts, or whatever the case may be. They may try to call you and hold you on the phone. And whenever you're on the phone, you sense that old connection. But understand that old connection has died, especially if in a long allotted time has went by. It's dead. of course you're going to have that natural chemistry with this person because you're just vibing off of how it was in the past. But you have to think this person moved on. This person had sex with other people. This person gave themselves to other people. This person put you on the back burner. This person thought that you were going to be chasing them forever and ever and ever. And sometimes I'm not going to say, oh, they like that. They like when they are chased. They do. But sometimes they really want you to leave them alone because they're so caught up in their new fantasy, right? They meet somebody else, they're going on little fake dates, like they're doing a little this and that, they're trying to compare. People want their new person to be better than their last person. And even if that new person isn't better than their last, it's not gonna last. But even if that is the case, if you're not better than the last, they're gonna pretend like it is as long as they can. And it's no different from, baby mamas and baby daddies and girlfriends and boyfriends. Like everybody is trying to replace somebody and make it seem like they found better instead of working on themselves, instead of developing themselves, instead of, literally locking in. You need to move on. Stop staring at your phone expecting a text. Stop sitting there trying to worry about what they're doing. Oh my God, like all day they haven't texted me. What am I, what's going on? Like accept it. Literally accept it. Move on. Love yourself. Appreciate the opportunity that you had with that person to learn, because not everybody is compatible. Not everything is going to work out. And that is something that you need to realize. Not every situation, not every relationship, not every dynamic is going to end up exactly how you expect it to be. But understand that this silence that this person is giving you, this distance that this person is giving you, is literally their answer. And you need to choose yourself. And I promise you, once they realize that you're no longer bothered by what they have going on, they're gonna hurt. They're gonna be like, wow, I really lost somebody. You know what they say? You always realize, what you lost when it's no longer there, when that person's no longer putting in effort, when that person's no longer showing interest, when that person is no longer literally being worried or concerned about it. Move on. And one day, I promise you, you will find somebody that won't make you feel like you have to second guess your emotions for this person. You're gonna find somebody that's gonna literally be like, yeah, I'm so glad I met you. I'm so glad your ex fumbled you, because what the heck were they thinking? Because hey, you may be more compatible with someone else, and that's okay. And you have to accept that. Kids or no kids, don't allow kids to force you to stay with someone, but obviously be there for your kids. But you have to accept it. You have to grow up and just be like, man, you know what? I tried. It didn't work out. There was too many non-negotiables that happened throughout the duration of the relationship, whatever the case may be. And I just simply have to move on. We can't sit here and worry about what this person is doing, what that person might have done. It is what it is. Like I said, regardless of the ties, if your baby mama want to go out and pop that thing, make it clap, she's going to do what she going to do. It is what it is. That don't got nothing to do with you. If your baby daddy want to go, do whatever he going to do, let him do whatever he going to do. But at the end of the day, that don't got nothing to do with you. And as long as you're prioritizing the kids, and if you don't got kids, as long as you're prioritizing yourself, most importantly, you will always win. You will always succeed. So stop the worrying and the whatever. If they're showing you something, if they're switching up on you, believe them. Take it for what it is and stop allowing yourself to overthink to the point where you're just like, oh man, now I'm stressed. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. Now I'm thinking about this. If they are bold enough to step back from you and not respond to your text and move funny and treat you different, I want you to literally believe every single thing about how they're moving. Because that is exactly what they want to do. That's exactly who they are. We don't have time to play games. We don't have time to be sitting there playing, oh, okay, they want me to chase them. Forget chasing them. We ain't chasing nobody but a check. We ain't chasing nobody but a bag. You feel me? Let people do what they want to do. Let people, do their little misery dating, their little spontaneous, oh, I'm with this person now I'm with this person, now I'm with this person, I'm going to get back at my ex. Hey, do you? That, because look, you have already shown me exactly who you are, and now I see exactly why I don't want to be with you. It's okay. I tried to give you a chance. You wanted to go out there and prove a point, and that point that you're trying to prove is going to come back and bite you in your butt, because I promise you, not everything that looks good is good. Not everything that smells good is good. Not everything that appears good is good. So you will learn. But it's not our job to give them their karma. Their karma will come naturally. It's your boy Lux. I'm out.